the coast of Portugal. Up until recently, these cliffs were believed to be desolate, but in reality, they held a unique, secret lost world unknown to us until now. Since the beginning of the 1990s, paleontologist Octavio Mateus has organized several dinosaur excavations to this coastline, hoping to find the fossils of these mighty beasts here in Portugal. What he found was one of the most diverse Jurassic ecosystems ever known, filled with a variety of weird and wonderful dinosaurs. And some of these dinosaurs were absolute giants. This is the story of the golden age of the dinosaurs, when they truly took over the world. This is the story of the Mesozoic era's great giants, here on Dinosaurs Unleashed. It has been nearly 80 million years since dinosaurs first appeared on the planet, and now they dominate the entire world. It's the beginning of the wet season, and while the scars of last year's struggles remain, life continues to prosper. Here we see a group of Draconyx feeding with an armored Dracopelta. Draconyx are fairly small dinosaurs, at 3.5 meters in length. They are iguanodonts, a group of dinosaurs that evolved roughly 20 million years ago. Someday, their descendants will become some of the most successful dinosaurs of all time, but for now, they are quite rare. Rarer still is Dracopelta, a 2-meter-long nodosaur that's derived from Scelidosaurus from 40 million years before and is covered in thick armor. Though larger than their ancestors, both dinosaurs pale in comparison to the real giants of the Jurassic. This is Dacentrurus, a stegosaur, and thus a close relative to the more famous Stegosaurus. At 8 meters long and 7 tons, this bull, named Rai, is the largest stegosaur of the region. His size gives him an advantage over his smaller contemporaries because of his ability to stand on his hind legs to reach for higher branches and trees. Like Stegosaurus, Dacentrurus has a double row of plates on its back, but unlike its American cousin, its shoulders bore 2 large spines for defense. And its tail, called a thegomizer, has 4 pairs of spikes, not 2 like Stegosaurus. In Portuguese, Rai means king, and aptly named too, for Rai is the dominant Dacentrurus in these forests. It's a female. Rai is a healthy bull, but you won't just blindly mate with him. To get to her, he'll need to be persistent. Nightfall, and in the dim light, predators lurk. Lost from his herd, this Draconyx is now in mortal danger. Allosaurus. Often nicknamed the Lion of the Jurassic, Allosaurus was an 8-meter-long, 1.5-ton killing machine. In the years following the primitive theropods of the early Jurassic, Allosaurus's teeth have become longer, sharper, and stronger. But recent research on the skull of Allosaurus showed that it had a relatively weak bite force for its size. Despite this, its skull was very strong, and scientists now believe that Allosaurus used its skull like an axe, driving its top jaw into prey with tremendous force and speed, crippling or killing upon impact. Allosaurus was the most successful theropod of the Jurassic, with many nearly complete fossils all over North America and Portugal, along with fragmentary remains believed to be Allosaurus in eastern Africa. Their success was bolstered by their ability to hunt a variety of prey, and even the powerful stegosaurs were wary of attack by these predators. But big though it was, Allosaurus was a pipsqueak in comparison to the true giants of the Jurassic. The next morning, the Allosaurus rests after a successful night of hunting. But the kill wasn't just for her. We will know this Allosaurus as May, which means mother in Portuguese. Despite her sharp claws and lethal jaws, May is a devoted mother and will fight viciously to protect her chick. But every day, May must patrol her territory and must therefore leave her baby behind. Rai joins the female Dacentrurus in foraging. She seems to respect his company, though she'll not mate with him yet. Ceratosaurus approaches. A smaller, lighter theropod than Allosaurus, Ceratosaurus means horn lizard because of the horn-like structures on its skull. Too frail to be used as weapons, these structures may have been used to attract females. A rarer dinosaur than Allosaurus, Ceratosaurus may have competed for food with its larger contemporary. But despite its size, Ceratosaurus was no pushover. In fact, the only known species from Portugal, Ceratosaurus dentisulcatus, was close to Allosaurus' size, at 7.5 meters in length and 1.5 tons in weight, making it a formidable competitor to Allosaurus. A local watering hole provides dinosaurs some much-needed morning nourishment. Rai is the first dinosaur to come down. He is followed by May. Still hungry after being chased away by the Dacentrurus, the Ceratosaurus picks up the faint scent of dead Draconyx. A week passes. As the wet season continues, Rai remains persistent in his attempt to mate with the female. Something big is arriving. At 25 meters long and weighing up to 30 tons, this is Lusotitan. Behind this colossus is a herd of Dinheirosaurus. These large dinosaurs have come to this part of Portugal to seek the new growth of the wet season. Dinheirosaurus and Lusotitan are only two members of the family of the largest dinosaurs to ever appear, the sauropods. When one thinks of the word dinosaur, the long-necked sauropods are among the first to be thought of, and it's not hard to see why. These leviathans of the Mesozoic are the largest land animals the world has ever seen. With their cauldron-like stomachs and pillar-like legs, they were the first truly massive animals to walk the planet. The Jurassic saw the rise of a myriad of sauropods, each unique enough to coexist with one another. Diplodocus, a North American relative of Dinheirosaurus, had peg-like teeth designed to crop leaves off of cycads and small trees. The stronger spoon-shaped teeth of this Chimaerosaurus could crush the tough needles of conifers. And the jaws of giants like Brachiosaurus and Lusotitan could take on the needles of the tallest trees, like redwoods. Certain sauropods, like Brachiosaurus and Lusotitan, also had vertical necks to reach heights no other dinosaur could. As a whole, sauropods couldn't chew, so they simply gulped down their food. For a time, digestion for these animals was usually accredited to stones, called gastroliths, which were swallowed and stored in the stomach to grind up the food for the dinosaur. It's a strategy used by birds today as well. But more recent studies hint that such an idea could be wrong, and that instead, specialized bacteria in their guts did the digestion. Whatever the reason, the sauropods were eating machines, and may have required over 1,000 pounds of food a day just to stay alive. Stegosaurs, like Dacentrurus, had cheeks, which allowed them to chew their food rather than relying on stones or bacteria in their stomachs. After a week of persistence, Rai seems to have won the female over. In another part of the forest, there is the stench of death. On the edge of this pool, an old Dracopelta lies dead in the mud. It seems to have become stuck when attempting to quench its thirst and died of starvation, unable to have escaped. May has been drawn by the carcass's pungent odor. It seems close enough, but looks can be deceiving. She is lucky. However, the lure of a free meal attracts a younger, less experienced Allosaurus. Now, his fate is sealed. Meanwhile, the sauropod herd continues to forage. Having snuck his way into the herd, this young male is looking for a mate. She seems to accept him. But for the dominant male, this intrusion cannot be tolerated. A single Dinheirosaurus can weigh up to 15 tons, so when two fully grown bulls go head to head, the forces involved can be absolutely destructive. May takes note of the situation. In the days following the death of her chick, she has spent her time trying to survive on her own. A trio of Allosaurus, a male and two females, have wandered into May's hunting grounds. Normally, Allosaurus would avoid coming into contact except for mating purposes. But at this time of year, such conflicts are abandoned, and as a result, individual Allosaurus are more sociable together. And they have good reason to be. A few weeks later, the sauropods have traveled farther from where we last saw them, continuing their never-ending search for food. For the once proud leader of the herd, he has been left behind. His injury isn't fully healed, and this has made him weak. With a kill this big, they may not have to hunt again for several weeks. In recent years, the idea that large theropod dinosaurs, like Allosaurus, hunted in packs has been one of constant consideration and debate. In the Cleveland Lloyd Dinosaur Quarry of Utah, around 40 to 60 individual Allosaurus specimens have been found, making it the largest concentration of these predators in the world. These specimens range in age from juveniles to fully grown adults, which has helped some scientists to conclude that these theropods may have hunted in packs. Similar sites in Alberta, Canada and Argentina have similar groups of specimens of theropods with a similar range in age. So could large theropods hunt together and do so with well-coordinated strategies? Looking to birds, the dinosaurs' descendants, the only bird of prey that habitually hunts cooperatively is the Harris's hawk of the southwestern United States. Like wolves and lions today, they form family groups that hunt together to catch prey. It's an effective strategy, but it's more likely that rather than having come up with a plan of sorts, the hawks simply react individually to the movements of their prey, and each bird only benefited from the fact that its companions did the same action. And to be fair, Harris's hawks often hunt small, defenseless creatures like rodents and rabbits. Certainly not like the giant sauropods that would have been far more dangerous to take down. Today, the dinosaurs' other close relatives, crocodiles and alligators, will sometimes work together in making kills on big, dangerous herbivores. But this is still limited. Crocodilians don't form strong family ties like Harris's hawks, and when hunting, they tend to gang up on prey rather than making strategies with others of their kind, and even then, only at certain times of the year when prey is most abundant. And recently, CAT scans on the brain case of an Allosaurus named Big Al show that the brains of these large theropods were more akin to those of alligators and crocodiles, rather than birds. So while it's not entirely impossible for large theropods to have attacked big, dangerous herbivores in groups, it's unlikely that they did so with much in the way of complicated strategies, or lived their entire lives in groups. Even so, a mob of these killers would have been a nightmare to behold, and a formidable force against even the largest sauropods. Two months later, and the Allosaurus pack have abandoned the carcass, which is now stripped of meat. May is now in heat again, and this sparks the attention of the male. Mating is quick, but the male may mate with her multiple times to ensure that he and he alone is the one whose genes are passed on to her next brood. Elsewhere, Rai forages for moss in the bark of a tree. With him is a new addition to his family. At only a couple weeks old, he is quite small in comparison to his parents. Like all youngsters, he is very curious about the world around him. But he's being watched. By the Ceratosaurus. Dacentrurus was one of the largest stegosaurs, second only to Stegosaurus, and is a prime example of the size and success of the dinosaurs during the Jurassic period. Thanks to Dr. Mateus's new findings, we have a broader understanding of the giant dinosaurs that lived, fought, bred, and died in Jurassic Portugal some 151 million years ago. The Jurassic was indeed the golden age of the dinosaurs, when size truly did matter. But as with every golden age, it came to an end. Around 145 million years ago, a small mass extinction occurred for reasons unknown. Whatever caused its extinction, it forced the stegosaurs and sauropods to decline sharply, and as they did so, the populations of the large theropods that hunted these giants also reduced greatly. Some, like Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus, died out completely. But as the curtain falls on the Jurassic, it will rise in the Cretaceous, and a new cast of weird and wonderful dinosaurs would evolve to take over the world. Until that day, however, life will go on in prehistoric Portugal. For May, life has given her a second chance at becoming a successful mother. And someday this little Dacentrurus will grow to be as big as his father, Rai, and live out his days here, in the world of the great giants.